In a recent report from Michael Scotto of Hoops Hype, apparently there was some previous discussions this offseason of a Paul George trade between the LA Clippers and the New York Knickerbockers. According to Michael, at the time, New York was considering a package featuring Obi Toppin, Quinn Grimes, Evan Fournier, and 3 first-round picks in exchange for George. RJ Barrett's name was brought up briefly in trade talks by the Clippers in place of Obi Toppin, who was later on traded by the Knicks. But apparently the asking price of Barrett, Grimes, 3 first-round picks was a little too much for New York to give up. And then they would have ended up having to renegotiate a long-term extension for Paul George, who's already 33 years of age. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. I thought the New York Knicks made a good decision not trading for Paul George. To me, I'm looking at it from the opposite direction. Now, clearly the Knicks did not value Obi Toppin as much as I would have, but I'm looking at it as like, yo, if you could have moved RJ Barrett and Grimes and Toppin and Fournier and keep some of those first round picks, that's the move I would have made if I were the Knicks. Look, you got to give up something. To me, if you're getting rid of, if you're getting Paul George, to me, you can get rid of RJ Barrett. You don't even need him on the court because there's not even going to be enough basketball for him any darn way. I'm looking at it, I'm from Michael Scotto's report. It looks like the Knicks, they didn't want to swap out Toppin for George on top of the fact that they would be giving up 3 first-round picks. Again, the picks I understand. That would be hell to be trading for Paul George, who, if I'm looking at PG correctly, man, you know, I'm not a fan of players doing podcasts. To me, they make a lot of money, and now they coming and stepping into the content creation space. These dudes are selfish, man. I'm telling you, man. Damn, you making $30-40 million. You play 30-40 games a year. Like, damn, you play pretty much a game per $1 million you make. You're like, Jesus Christ. Paul George, though, I will give him this. Some of these combos that he's having on his podcast are starting to get good. What we're learning is a lot of these dudes have a lot to say. They're just, you know, selective in saying it with the media. They don't trust media. So they're much more comfortable and open and saying it in their settings on couches to other players. That's what we're learning, right? That's what we're learning with some of these athletes creating podcasts. Now, here's the thing. Paul George is expected to be 1A or 1B in Los Angeles. If I'm Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, I'm pissed because I'm looking at Podcast P, which is what they're calling now. Remember, it was Playoff P, then it was Pandemic P, now it's Podcast P. I'm pissed because I pay him a lot of money to still be one of the faces of the franchise, and I just don't see the energy in the Clippers is what I'm seeing in Paul George with this podcast. I understand he's got enough money to get his production team and all that to do a lot of the work for him, but he seems very invested in his podcast. So if I'm the Knicks, I would have definitely passed on this trade if it included 3 first-round picks. To sit there and have to pay Paul George long-term money when he's seemingly already kind of looking at the next step in his career, on top of the fact that, you know, them picks, man, you would have to literally see those picks go away, most likely past Paul George's, you know, prime, and maybe even his career professionally. A dude that can't stay healthy. We don't talk about him not being as healthy because his teammate Kawhi Leonard can't stay healthy much more than him. So, man, I think the Knicks made a sound move not doing the trade. I'm just looking at what the Clippers think they have here, right? Like, look at what they were asking for. Those 3 first-round picks on top of RJ Barrett is a lot. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, y'all are delusional when it comes to Paul George. This is why the Clippers are still kind of one of the NBA's jokes, if we're being honest about it. As good a roster they've had, they have nothing to show for it. The most memorable moment of this Los Angeles Clippers tenure with PG and Kawhi was them losing up 3-1 in the bubble to the Denver Nuggets. That's the most memorable moment thus far. And, you know, I think it is time to break them up. But look at what the Clippers think they got. They think they were negotiating from a place of leverage, which I don't think that at all. If you had a chance to move on from Kawhi or Paul George and get Obi Toppin, Quinn Grimes, Fournier, and 3 first-round picks, maybe that would have been the deal to make. It seems like the talks left New York's perspective once Obi got swapped for RJ Barrett. to me, that's a good trade for PG if they were able to get those first-round picks from the Knickerbockers. Pretty much what New York would have had to given up for Donovan Mitchell is what the Clippers expected the Knicks to give them for Paul George. Donovan Mitchell's younger than PG, less injuries than PG. To me, right now, a more explosive player than PG. I say a better player than PG right now. Now, everybody talks about Paul George's bag. My response to these fans out there that love guys' bag, Kawhi's, Kyrie's got a great bag. Paul George got a great bag. These are two of the greatest bags we've ever seen. I hear you, but what the hell does that matter if you only see in the bag 35 times a year? Do I want 35 games of Paul George or 65 games of Donovan Mitchell? I want 65 games of Donovan Mitchell. The bag is great, but we only see it in the bag but a couple times a year. It's like shopping at a New York grocery store. They don't have no bags. They got bags in the back, but they ain't giving them to you. You ain't showing me the bags enough. Welcome to NBA offseason 2023. You're in great hands with Hoops FERRO. There's no network behind me. There's no budget behind me. Just straight grind and hoops talk. If you don't want to miss a beat this offseason from trades, free agent signings, and draft talk, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Let's run these numbers up. It's free $99 to show me that you support the grind. Let's go.